Welcome to Matchback, your statistical guide to all things Premier League, where we've now surpassed 10,000 matches played since the inaugural 1992-93 season. On Sunday, Harry Kane became the 27th player to reach the 100-goal mark in the Premier League. He's now 160 behind Alan Shearer. Antonio Conte and Chelsea's title defence goes from bad to worse. They've now lost 6 matches, that's more than in the whole of last season. And there was a happy home debut for Arsenal's Henrik Mkhitaryan, who notched 3 assists in their 5-1 win over Everton.
In this game, you have to behave differently from the other games. It's not a normal game for any of the players. This kind of game doesn't allow you to make many mistakes. This is it, you have to be ready from the first minute.
Tottenham Hotspur are set to do battle with Arsenal once again in the North London derby. And it's not just pride at stake, but vital points as well. Both clubs will need to improve on their general fortunes when playing against fellow top 6 rivals.
They have their style to play, it's about them to work. But it's not easy when you play against the top 6, on the table. You have to be always on your top to get points and to win the game.
In recent times, Arsene Wenger's men haven't fared well when the away team in this fixture. Although this game takes place at Wembley, these teams last met there in the 1993 FA Cup semi-final won by the Gunners. There are unquestionably wider issues on the road for Wenger to contend with. The Gunners have picked up just 29% of their Premier League points away from home this term. That is significantly lower than the last couple of seasons. However, after Saturday's 5-1 dropping of Everton, no one can doubt the threat the Gunners pose when going forward. Now they boast 16 different goal scorers this season, and that's more than any other team. New signing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang added his name to that list on Saturday, despite having just 25 touches, the fewest of any of his outfield teammates who began the game. The new signing showing impressive efficiency already in front of goal.
I hope he has the same success at Arsenal as he had at his ex-club, at Dortmund. He's a good player, there is no doubt about it. And hope he can fit well in the team as he's arriving in a great club, one of the greatest in Europe.
A little slice of history was made in Tottenham's 2-2 draw at Liverpool. Harry Kane's injury time equaliser was his 100th Premier League goal. It took him just 141 games to reach that mark. Only Alan Shearer reached his century faster.
He has to keep doing his job, in the best way he can. If he keeps doing things as he has done until now, he got a good chance, to be one of big legends in the Premier League.
January signing Lucas Moura could soon be in line for his Spurs debut. The Brazilian winger arrives from PSG, having created 226 chances in 153 games for the French club.
I'm sure it will be a good move for him. Of course, I'll do hard just to have him at Arsenal, but it's about the opportunity he's having, and I hope he finds himself well in England at Tottenham.
Spurs now seem to have settled into their temporary abode. Since losing their opening match at Wembley against Chelsea, Mauricio Pochettino's side are unbeaten in 12 home Premier League games, winning 8 of their last 10.
Looks like they are doing well, which is not so easy. Change from one place to another. It takes time, to adapt. I remember when we moved from Hybrid to Emirates, how difficult it was in our first year.
So with both clubs chasing a top 4 position, who'll come out on top in the 182nd North London derby?
We always expect a good game, a good quality game, with goals, of course. I'm sure at the end of the day, Arsenal win 2-0. This is what I expect from them. I hope it happens. If not, I'll get the blame. Doesn't matter.
A draw with Crystal Palace last time leaves Newcastle United in 16th. The Magpies have won just 2 of their last 17 in the Premier League, but have conceded the second fewest goals of the teams in the bottom half. Next, they host a Manchester United team looking to stay ahead of the pack in the frantic race for a top 4 finish. Newcastle have been disappointing at home this season, winning just 3 of their 13 league games at St James's Park, a ground at which Jose Mourinho has never won in this competition, so the Toon Army will be hopeful of seeing a first home league win since October. Alexis Sanchez opened his goal-scoring account for the Red Devils against Huddersfield. Though he's never scored against Newcastle, he'll be looking to maintain his overall Premier League goal-scoring ratio, averaging just under 1 every 2 games.
He'll work hard, and I think the players around him will take on his lead as well. They'll up their game. I think he's made the first 11 even stronger at Man United. Sanchez is world class. He'll score goals, he'll make goals, and he'll make Man United better.
The last time Newcastle triumphed at St James's Park against Manchester United was back in 2012. Demba Ba's half volley put the Magpies ahead before Yohan Kabai's free kick. Phil Jones's own goal cemented Newcastle's victory, their first over the Red Devils in just over 10 years.
In West Ham United's 3-1 defeat to Brighton and Hove Albion, Javier Hernandez notched his 43rd Premier League goal, and remarkably every single one of those has come from inside the box. That defeat, however, makes it 8 league games in a row without a clean sheet for the Hammers, a run currently matched only by Arsenal. Overall, though, they have improved at the back. When Slaven Bilic departed, he left behind the worst defence in the division. But since Moyes' appointment, only 9 teams have conceded fewer, a huge improvement. And the Scot will want revenge for his first game as Hammers boss, which ended in defeat against this weekend's opponents Watford back in November. The Hornets dismantled the reigning champions Chelsea on Monday night. Skipper Troy Deeney opened the scoring. All 3 of his league goals this season have been penalties against Big Six sides. Gerard Deulofeu's first goal for the club was also the 6th of his Premier League career, and his first since scoring for Everton in 2015. Having failed to score in back-to-back games prior to that win over Chelsea, Watford hit back in some style. They've now scored 37 goals this campaign. Only the top 6 and Leicester have found the net more often. And Javi Gracia's side are already just 3 goals away from equalling their best ever tally in the Premier League.
It's now 1 win in 8 league matches for Sam Allardyce and Everton, who were undone 5-1 at Arsenal last time. And the 45 goals they've conceded is the most they've ever let in at this stage of a Premier League season, or indeed of any top-flight campaign since 1976-77. The honeymoon period now seems to be over for Big Sam, although their home form in the Premier League remains solid, losing just 1 of the last 8 at Goodison Park. However, the Toffees haven't beaten this weekend's opponents Crystal Palace in any of their last 4 meetings on Merseyside. The Eagles came away with a point last time, courtesy of a Luka Milivojevic penalty against Newcastle United. That was the 5th he's taken this season. No player in the Premier League has taken more. The Serb has scored 4 of those 5 from the spot, and he's Palace's leading scorer this campaign with 6 overall. The wins have started to dry up for Roy Hodgson's side, but they've still lost just 2 of their last 15 league matches. They remain 3 points clear of the relegation zone, but they're still on the up. Since the start of December 2017, only the current top 5 have won more points than Hodgson's Palace.
Despite a 1-1 draw at Burnley, Pep Guardiola remains on course for his first Premier League title. Such has been the improvement in the Spaniard's second season. Manchester City are now 14 points better off than after 26 games last campaign.
This season we see it's really Pep Guardiola's starting 11, the team he wants out there, and the way they're playing, the brand of football they're playing, the goals they're scoring, the chances they're creating. You know, it's a great brand of football, even for the neutral fan to watch. They're a great watch.
Pep's men have taken the competition by storm. Their tally of 69 points is the most that any Premier League team has ever managed after 26 matches, surpassing even Jose Mourinho's first Chelsea side and Sir Alex Ferguson's final title-winning Manchester United team.
You know, we've seen it, of course, at Bayern Munich and at Barcelona, and now at Manchester City we can see the fast-flowing football, you know, the chances they're creating, the goals they're scoring, and the brand of football, and, you know, there's a great team to watch at the minute.
You certainly can't accuse City of being reliant on any one player. This is a team full of superstars. They've scored 74 goals in total, and 6 players have bagged 5 or more. That's comfortably a league high.
It's not just about the centre forward, it's about the wingers. Sané and Sterling, of course, this season have been bagging loads of goals as well, and of course David Silva behind that, and Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, these names reel off your tongue. They're fantastic players, and they can open any defence on any given day, and they're a joy to watch.
Centre-back Aymeric Laporte arrived for a club record fee in January and excelled on his debut, a 3-0 win over West Brom. He subsequently sat out the draw against Burnley, displaying the immense wealth of options at City's disposal.
He's very good on the ball. I think that's one of his main attributes, and we all know Guardiola loves to play out from the back, and I think Laporte will fit into the team and into that squad fantastically well.
Leicester City have made a promising start to the new year. After failing to win their final 4 matches of 2017, they've picked up 2 wins and 2 draws from 5 league outings, as well as advancing to the 5th round of the FA Cup. And the Foxes have a knack of coming fast out of the blocks. This season they've netted 7 times inside the opening 15 minutes of matches, second only to Arsenal. When
teams come out of their defence and come at you, and then that plays into Leicester's hands on the counter-attack, and I think especially under Puel as well. I mean, I've been surprised personally myself how well they've done, and he deserves great credit for that. One man who's key to setting them away on those counter-attacks is Wilfred Ndidi. The 21-year-old was brought in last season as a replacement for N'Golo Kanté, and this campaign he's won 72 tackles, the most in the division, and 20 more than Kanté himself. He sits in front of the back 4 and gives it simple, and he's an important part of the cog. You know, I think even that Kanté they had when they won the league, he's a very similar player to him. He just breaks things up and gives it simple. With Ndidi's solidity in front of the back 4, Leicester's well-heralded attackers are free to shine. The Foxes have scored 5 goals from fast breaks this season, second only to Liverpool. Unsurprisingly, Jamie Vardy has netted 2 of those. The 31-year-old continues to impress, scoring 12 goals this term. And whilst he's not quite on track to match his famous 24-goal season of 2015-16, his shot conversion rate has been improving year on year. Causing an upset at the Etihad will, though, be no easy feat. Guardiola boasts a near impeccable record at home in league matches through his career, winning a remarkable 83% of his fixtures. Leicester will be buoyed, though, by their Premier League record at Manchester City. The Foxes have won on 4 out of 6 trips to the blue side of Manchester. This promises to be the toughest task yet. So I'm going to have to go for Man City. You know, I do feel, you know, the confidence is sky high. That, you know, the squad again strengthened again. You know, the players they have in, and you know, there's no complacency seem to be getting into their squad. It's each game as it comes, and I feel that they'll have enough to beat Leicester on the day. So I'm going to go for Man City 3, Leicester 1.
Chelsea's 4-1 defeat at Watford on Monday night, a second consecutive 3-goal loss, leaves them 4th in the table, just 1 point clear of Spurs, with Antonio Conte badly in need of a win. West Bromwich Albion have won just once in their last 24 games, and they're in danger of being cut adrift at the bottom of the table. With just 2 wins from 10 in all competitions, Chelsea's season is at risk of collapsing. Conte will be desperate to avoid a 3rd straight league defeat, something that hasn't happened since Jose Mourinho's ill-fated title defence in 2015.
Chelsea are too much of a bigger club to let this continue. Something's going to happen, whether it's the manager, whether it's players, whether it's the hierarchy, something's going to happen to make things better. We don't know what's going on, but something behind the scenes is going wrong at Chelsea. It's got to be put right, because it's not good enough for a football club like Chelsea to be teetering 4th and 5th all the time.
Daniel Sturridge will be hoping to return to Stamford Bridge and add to the Blues' misery. He scored 74 goals from 196 Premier League appearances. His goal scoring has never been in question, only his ability to stay fit. When these two teams met in 2013, the game ended 2 apiece. A first-half goal from Samuel Eto'o was overturned by Shane Long and Stéphane Sessegnon in the second half. But Eden Hazard's last-minute penalty maintained Jose Mourinho's unbeaten home record in the Premier League.
Huddersfield Town will kick off on Sunday in the relegation zone. A 2-0 defeat to Manchester United was the 14th league game this season in which they failed to find the net. That's more than any other side. And it's now 5 defeats in succession, their longest run in the competition. The Terriers are now the only Premier League team without a point in 2018. Worryingly for David Wagner, his team are now goalless in each of their last 3 matches, although that does include games against Liverpool and Manchester United. But as a timely reminder of their remarkable journey to this point, if they do get the better of Bournemouth, it'll be the 7th team that Town have beaten in all 4 tiers of English football. Joshua King scored in Bournemouth's 2-1 win over Stoke, and that was his 25th Premier League goal, putting him 7 in front of their next highest scorer, Callum Wilson. And in stark contrast to Huddersfield's fortunes, Bournemouth do appear to have turned a corner. They're now unbeaten in 7 matches, their longest ever run without defeat in the competition. Only Spurs and Manchester United have won more points than the Cherries since the turn of the year. They've let in just 6 goals in the last 6 league outings. That follows a record of 14 conceded in the 6 games prior to that. And having won the reverse fixture 4-0, Eddie Howe will surely be confident of securing 3 more points this weekend.
The pressure on Southampton boss Mauricio Pellegrino has eased after a vital victory, as the Saints came from behind to beat West Brom 3-2 at the Hawthorns. That was their first victory in 13 league matches. It also put an end to a run of winless games that was the longest in the division. Southampton now sit 2 points clear of the relegation zone, ahead of the visit of Liverpool. Just one of the problems faced by the Saints has been their inability to see out games at home. At St Mary's, Southampton have lost 9 points from leading positions this term. Only West Brom have squandered as many.
It's sometimes easier to play away from home. You don't quite have the pressure of the home crowd on your back. And I've been to a few games at St Mary's this season as well, and just sensed the anxiety and the frustration of the supporters a little bit, and that seems to have seeped down onto the football pitch and into the players in some games, and that's made it a little bit difficult to get some results or retain a leading position in some games at St Mary's this season.
Virgil van Dijk returns to his former club for the first time this weekend. The defender enjoyed a dream start to life on Merseyside, scoring the winner on his debut against Everton in the FA Cup. The Dutchman may now be bracing himself for a hostile reception, but it's worth remembering the qualities that made him shine so brightly on the South Coast. Of all the defenders to have played at least 50 games since his Premier League arrival in 2015, he's won more duels per game than anyone.
Virgil van Dijk is an absolutely first-class defender and a player, and a player anyone would want in their side. So to replace him is extremely difficult.
Liverpool enter this match full of confidence, having lost just 1 of their last 17 league matches. And despite a frustrating and controversial draw with Spurs, Jurgen Klopp will be happy with the amount of goals his side have been scoring, especially on the road. They've scored more goals away from home than any other side in the league. So what is the key to Klopp's success?
Working on a training ground, I would imagine he's somebody that can maximise and get the best out of his players. And he's a character and a personality as well, which is great for us as viewers looking in from afar. But I'd imagine he'd be a manager that, as a player within the dressing room, you would want to do your best for and play well for.
It's been a difficult season for Saints keeper Fraser Forster, who's found himself out of the team in recent weeks, with Alex McCarthy being preferred. Of the 30 goals conceded by Forster in the Premier League this term, 10 of them have come from outside the box, which is a remarkable 33% of his total conceded. That's the highest ratio in the division by far.
Well, Fraser's a huge presence, and I think he'd be the first to admit his form this season hasn't been one where he would want it and expect it to be. There's been some goals that have gone in that there's been criticism in his direction, which, you know, is maybe a little bit justified in a way. You know, he wants to perform better than what he has done in certain games and certain goals that have gone in.
In the reverse fixture last November, 2 goals from Mohamed Salah and 1 from Philippe Coutinho earned Liverpool a comfortable 3-0 victory. However, that is the Reds' only win in their last 6 meetings with the Saints in all competitions. So will Klopp's men run riot once more, or will Southampton record back-to-back victories for the first time this season?
The 1-1 draw against Tottenham recently that Southampton had is hopefully going to give them some heart that they can go into playing one of the top 4 sides and get a positive response for. So naturally I'm a little bit biased from a Southampton perspective, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Saints.
Stoke City suffered a damaging defeat last time out at Bournemouth, although there were promising signs from new boy Badou Ndiaye, who became the first Stoke player to register an assist on his Premier League debut since August 2015. It won't be too much of a consolation, however, for Paul Lambert. That defeat leaves the Potters in the bottom 3 and with the fewest away points in the league. But one quirk of their home form is that the Potters have alternated between winning and not winning in each of their last 7 league games at the Bet365 Stadium. And last time they drew. Next up, Brighton and Hove Albion. The Sussex side secured a much-needed 3-1 win against West Ham last weekend. Pascal Gross starred once again for the Seagulls, picking up an assist and a goal. He's now been directly involved in 11 Premier League goals this season, 52% of Brighton's total, and that's the highest ratio of any player in the division. The importance of that win can't be overstated. Just a second victory in 15 league matches, and enough to lift Brighton 3 points clear of the relegation zone. They've not won on the road, though, in over 3 months. If Chris Hughton's side can manage that this Saturday, it'll be back-to-back wins for the first time in the Premier League.
Carlos Carvalhal has turned Swansea City's fortunes around in recent weeks. A draw against Leicester, and they climbed out of the bottom 3. This weekend, they face Burnley, who remain 7th despite failing to win any of their last 9 league games, though that run does include 5 matches against the current top 5. Swansea pulled off upsets in each of their last 2 home games, wins against Liverpool and Arsenal, averaging just 27% possession across those 2 fixtures. But how will they fare against Burnley, a side who tend to thrive without the ball?
I think Swansea will find this one the most difficult one out of those 3 fixtures you've just mentioned. Burnley will do possibly what Swansea will do, and they'll make sure they don't concede first and foremost. It's now down to Swansea to use the majority of the ball.
Johan Berg Gudmundsson was Burnley's hero last weekend, scoring the equaliser against Manchester City. The Icelandic midfielder leads the team in assists and has been directly involved in half of Burnley's last 14 Premier League goals. These sides were involved in a 5-goal thriller last season. Fernando Llorente opened the scoring before an Andre Gray double put the Clarets on top. But a goal from Martin Olsen and a dramatic 90th minute winner from Llorente snatched all 3 points for the Welsh club.
We have a mouth-watering prospect to kick off match week 27 as Tottenham Hotspur host Arsenal. Manchester City will hope to avoid an upset at the hands of Leicester. Jose Mourinho seeks his first ever Premier League win at St James's Park. And Antonio Conte surely can't afford another defeat on Monday. Some of the league's finest are set to grace the Wembley turf on Saturday. Mesut Ozil has registered more assists than any other player in the Premier League since his arrival. Dele Alli has scored more goals than any other midfielder since his first appearance for Spurs in 2015. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang became just the 8th player to score on his Arsenal Premier League debut. Whilst, of course, Harry Kane will be looking for Premier League goal number 101 and his 7th against the Gunners. A place in Derby folklore awaits this weekend. From Dave Farrer and me, John Champion, it's goodbye.